What's up everyone, my name is AJ Nystrom and welcome to Tips and Tricks Tuesday. Today we're choking, but don't worry about the Heimlich maneuver, we're talking about choking our cymbals. I thought I knew what I was talking about regarding choking cymbals until I saw a clip of Jonathan Moffat showcasing his line of soul-tone cymbals. The man was choking cymbals behind him, without even looking at him. I knew it was time to get back into the woodshed and get busy. In my research and playing, I've seen three major ways of choking a cymbal with a few variations of each way. The first way is probably the most widely known and widely used, and least talked about, and that's the hi-hat bark. The bark is a fairly simple move that takes a little bit of practice to get down the timing and coordination between your hands and feet. What I found to be the most helpful for acclimating myself to the coordination between my hands and feet was to take a straightforward beat with 8 notes on the hi-hat, snare on 2 and 4, bass on 1 and 3, and raise both feet, hi-hat and bass, on the and of 4, and bringing them down on the 1. This will produce an elementary, simple hi-hat bark while keeping yourself in time. Check it out. To place the bark on the beat, simply pick up your hi-hat foot while you're playing with your bass drum foot. Remember that we want to raise our foot in time and drop our foot in time so we can continue to play in time. Notice in this next demonstration how I only let the hi-hat remain open for the equivalent of an 8th note. If I let the hi-hat stay open for the next strike with my right hand, it would ring out in an open note and it would sound out of place in this musical context. When choking a splash, crash, Chinese, or effects cymbal, you'll probably use your hand to muffle it. The two main ways of muffling a cymbal with your hand are the opposite hand muffle and the same hand muffle. The opposite hand muffle is exactly as the name implies. The opposite hand of your striking hand reaches up to muffle the cymbal shortly after being struck. Much the same hand muffle simply means that you muffle the cymbal with the same hand that you use to strike it with. The technique that I use for muffling the cymbal is one that I feel comfortable with, and it may be different for you or for another drummer. Thankfully, these techniques aren't written in stone, and we can do what we are all comfortable with. No technique police are going to be patrolling your practice area, especially when it comes to cymbal chokes. The way I go about choking my cymbals is to bury the stick into the webbing between my thumb and forefinger, index finger, whatever. I hold it in place with my pinky and ring fingers while I let the thumb, forefinger, and middle finger extend to catch and muffle the cymbal. The same hand muffle poses a bit of a challenge because you need to keep proper grip during the initial strike, then change your grip in order to muffle the cymbal quickly. What I find to work best is to keep my natural grip when I initiate the hit, then let momentum open up my hand into the catching position, making sure I force my ring and pinky fingers to remain on the stick and catch on the upstroke. It took me a little bit of time and practice to get the single hand muffle technique down, and I spent a fair amount of time practicing what was covered in the second episode of Tips and Tricks Tuesday, recovery from a drop stick. One form of cymbal chokes that I have seen, although not often, is the stick choke. I've seen people like Benny Greb and Thomas Lang do this with smaller, thinner cymbals like splashes or accent cymbals. What the stick muffle entails is instead of hitting the cymbal with a glancing blow while following through on your hit to allow the cymbal to resonate freely, you keep pressure on the cymbal, killing the vibrations of the cymbal and thus the noise. Those are some of the most widely used options when it comes to cymbal chokes. If you've never heard of or haven't taken the opportunity to check out Jonathan Moffett because you never heard of him or figured that he was just the drummer of Michael Jackson, do yourself a favor and immerse yourself in his creativity and his great technique. Remember, when you're practicing anything, whether a fill, a groove pattern, or a trick, that perfect practice makes perfect. Make sure that your technique, posture, and strikes are all in good order so that when you speed up, your good technique will translate into good playing. Thanks for watching, and I hope you'll be back next Tuesday when we break down the double cross of Neil Peart. If you have any questions you want answered or have an idea for a concept, groove, or trick to be featured on Triple T, just send me a message on YouTube or email me at ajnystrom@hotmail.com. Check out my website at ajnystrom.com, and don't forget to like, comment on, and share my videos, as well as subscribe to my YouTube channel at youtube.com/ajnystromoficial. Keep practicing on your end, I'll keep practicing on mine, and we'll meet back here next Tuesday for another segment of Tips and Tricks Tuesday. Until then, live right, drum well, and have fun. I'm AJ Nystrom. See you next week.